Hi everyone, my name is Steward, and today the court case that I chose for the graded 2.1 discussion slash assignment was the Berman versus University of Notre Dame case. First off, we're going to start with the facts of the case. A little bit of history of the case was on October 27th, 1983. Christina Berman and her husband are at a University of Notre Dame football game. They left shortly before the game was over, and while they were walking towards their car, they saw two guys who were apparently drunk, and the two men started fighting, and one fell down, and then for some reason they ended up walking away from each other. One of the men ended up walking by the Bermans. A few moments later, the man that walked by them fell into Mrs. Berman, and it knocked her to the ground, and it broke her leg. And there was no ushers or security or people in the area to watch security over the parking lot of where the incident happened. So the plaintiff would be Christina Berman and her husband, and then the defendant will be the University of Notre Dame. The Berman's argument. With the broken leg that Mrs. Berman got, she ended up suing the University of Notre Dame. One thing I did leave out was that she was an invitee of the game, so the university invited her to the game, and so with that, she believes that the university had the duty to protect her from the injury caused by the acts of the other persons on the premises. Notre Dame's argument is they know no knowledge of there being any danger to the patron. Notre Dame couldn't be held liable for acts of third persons. If known of any danger, they would have made proper protection available. Awareness of the university. Notre Dame is aware of alcoholic beverages being consumed before, during, and after the football games on the property. They are aware of parties being held in every parking lot of the stadium. They are also aware that tailgating and other activities happen at each home football game, so that every home football game they should have extra security on the premises. The findings for the first off, the court at first found that the University of Notre Dame was not liable for the injury that happened to Christina Berman. But 5 years later, the case went to the Court of Appeals by the Bermans. The case was then overturned, and the University of Notre Dame was held liable for the injury. The reasons for it being overturned was the reinstatement of torts of 1965. It states that a professor of land who holds it open to the public for entry for his business purposes is subject to liability to members of the public while they are on the land for such a purpose. For physical harm caused by the accidental, negligent, or intentionally harmful acts of third persons or animals, and by the failure of the professor to exercise reasonable care to either A. discover that such acts are being done or are likely to be done, or B. given a warning adequate to enable the visitors to avoid the harm, or otherwise to protect them against it. So after the appeal, the court found the University of Notre Dame was held liable for, they believe that Notre Dame was aware that people would have alcohol intake and become intoxicated, which would cause a danger to the public. I mentioned that before, that they were probably going to be aware of that people drink before the games and would more than likely be intoxicated, some people. With that being said, the university has a duty to take precautions at the sporting events to prevent serious injuries from third persons. So, what can we learn from this case? The University of Notre Dame didn't take the proper precautions, so they should have had better organization of their security on and around the premises, even before the game and during the game. They should have security at those locations all around, double, maybe even triple, from what they have normally before from other events that happen there. Especially after the game when everybody's leaving and there could be fights that break out or whatever. Maybe invitees should probably have a designated area to park separate from the tailgate parties that go on. If people were invited by the university, they should create their own parking space for these people to keep them safe from partiers and people being intoxicated. Notre Dame should post signs and other precautions around the premises, that way that everyone is aware of what can and will happen if patrons aren't careful. So they should put up alcoholic drinking signs, other little details like that that could help prevent incidents from what happened in this case. Now, I do realize that this was back in 1983 and they don't have some of the things that we have today, but even back then in a sporting event, they should have taken the extra precautions. It doesn't matter if it's football, basketball, or whatever. In any activity, the university should take precautions of the worst case possible. Well, that concludes my presentation of the Berman versus University of Notre Dame. Thank you for watching.